Hello, very warm welcome to Granada Reports. We're live with the latest across the northwest.
Hello, on the programme this evening.
Claims of blackmail and intimidation. Christian Wakeford says the government threatened him before he joined the Labour Party.
I was threatened that I would not get the score for Radcliffe if I didn't vote one particular way.
I'm bombed up, every ammunition. I've only been here 2 weeks, right? I've got them all at gunpoint.
The chilling call made by the Blackburn man who took hostages at an American synagogue as his brother urged him to surrender.
Sick to the back teeth and fed up with the difficulties of finding a dental appointment on the NHS.
A royal embrace for Alfie, the therapy dog, as the Duke and Duchess visit a Lancashire hospital.
And the sun has set on another beautiful day here in the northwest. Will we see any more sunshine over the next few days? The forecast is coming up.
So stay with us. First, though, those shocking claims of blackmail from a North West Conservative MP against his own government.
The Hazelgrave MP, William Ragg, has claimed government ministers, party whips and advisers have intimidated MPs who oppose the Prime Minister.
And today, the MP for Bury South, Christian Wakeford, claimed that he had been threatened. He says he was told his constituency would not get a new school it wanted unless he toed the party line. He defected from the Conservatives to the Labour Party.
Well, Number 10 say they are not aware of any evidence to support the claims. In a moment, we'll be live to Westminster for the very latest.
But first, Rob Smith reports on the latest in a week of chaos at the heart of government.
From thumbs up and backslapping with Boris Johnson when he was Mayor of London, to thumbs down and accusations of blackmailing by the government he now leads as Prime Minister. William Ragg, who represents Hazel Grove near Stockport, is among Tory MPs who want Mr Johnson to go. He told a House of Commons committee those MPs are being intimidated.
Reports to me and others of members of staff at Number 10 Downing Street, special advisers, government ministers and others encouraging the publication of stories in the press seeking to embarrass those who they suspect of lacking confidence in the Prime Minister, the reports of which I am aware would seem to constitute blackmail. As such, it would be my general advice to colleagues to report these matters to the Speaker of the House of Commons and the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police.
And locally here in Bury,
the Bury South MP, who switched from Conservatives to Labour over Partygate, made his own claims of past strong-arm tactics. Applauded by his new political colleagues, Christian Wakeford said some old colleagues once threatened a proposed high school in his constituency if he didn't toe the line.
I was threatened that I would not get the score for Radcliffe if I didn't vote one particular way. This is a town that's not had a high school for the best part of 10 years. And how do you feel when holding back a regeneration of a town for a vote? It didn't sit comfortably, and that was really that kind of starting to question my place where I was.
Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves was in Bury today and quick to condemn alleged bullying.
It's very concerning what a well-respected and long-serving MP like William Ragg has said today. And I'm afraid it is just another example of this government acting not in the national interest, but it is in its own party political interest.
The Prime Minister insists he's unaware of such intimidation.
Are those tactics being used to try to stop MPs speaking out against you?
I've seen no evidence, heard no evidence to support any of those allegations, Anushka, and what I'm focused on is what we're doing to deal with the number one priority of the British people, which is coming through COVID, and we've made enormous progress thanks to the vaccine rollout.
The corridors of Westminster are no stranger to heavy persuasion, like any political centre. But allegations of blackmail, recommendations to call police, are very different. Just when Downing Street may have thought their side were thinking twice about dumping their leader, two North West MPs have given them something else to think about. Rob Smith, ITV News.
Yeah, the twists and turns certainly continue. Let's bring in our political correspondent, Leisha Manali, who's live in Westminster for us this evening. Leisha, this is all getting very messy, isn't it?
Well, messy is one word for it, Gamal. There are some MPs and they can come up with a few other suggestions, words you're not allowed to say on television. Look, undoubtedly another very difficult day for Downing Street. Another day with another North West MP dominating the headlines. Now, William Wragg does have a reputation as one of the region's most rebellious Conservatives, but even so, for a governing party MP to make these kind of claims is highly unusual, and it does pile pressure on the Prime Minister. What it's not likely to do, though, is bring things to a head for him any faster. Serious claims like this don't really go anywhere without an investigation into the evidence, if there is any, and Downing Street have promised to do so if there is. And with most MPs heading back to their constituencies for the weekend, rumblings today feel more like a drum roll throwing to next week. That's when we're also likely to get Sue Gray's report into the Partygate scandal. And with Christian Wakeford's defection angering many of his former colleagues, even those who are very unhappy with Boris Johnson's leadership now seem willing to wait for that before deciding whether they'll move against him. So if you thought this week was a wild one for Westminster, just watch this space. We'll be unpacking all of that in our monthly political debate programme. That's the Granada debate tonight after the late news.
Great watch. Leisha, thank you. Well, next this evening, to the chilling final call made by a Blackburn man who was shot dead by the FBI after taking hostages at a synagogue in Texas.
Yeah, in that last call, Malik Faisal Akram told his brother, "I'm coming home in a body bag."
Gulba Akram can be heard pleading with his brother to surrender during the recording, which was obtained by the Jewish Chronicle.
Meanwhile, police say 2 men, one from Manchester and one from Birmingham, have been arrested and are being questioned by police. We can cross live now to Tim Scott, who's in our newsroom. Tim, what more can you tell us?
Yes, well, the audio obtained by the Jewish Chronicle is a recording of the last phone call Malik Faisal Akram made to his brother in the UK before he was killed by the FBI last weekend. The 44-year-old had travelled to the USA from Blackburn and taken 4 people hostage at a synagogue in Texas. In this clip, yet to be verified by the US authorities, his brother Gulbar had asked him what he was doing, and a warning some viewers may find some content of the clip distressing.
Yeah, I'm in America, I thought I'll just kiss my last goodbye to you, innit?
Well, what's happened?
I took some hostages on, I've been surrounded by all my men. I'm in a synagogue, yeah?
But why are you doing that, man? Why are you doing that for, What's wrong with you?
Don't worry about it, just you don't worry about what I'm doing. You just do what you gotta do, yeah? I've come to die. I'm bombed up, every ammunition. I've only been here 2 weeks, right? I've got them all at gunpoint.
As the conversation progresses, Akram's brother is heard telling him that what he's doing is a sin. But Akram says he wants to die and demands that a convicted terrorist, Afia Siddiqui, is brought to where he is. He then reiterates his wish to go toe-to-toe with the authorities and die there. His brother pleads again for him to stop what he's doing, but to no avail. The audio ends shortly before the hostages ran out of the synagogue and Akram died when the FBI raided the building. His family have since said that Akram had mental health issues and they apologised for what he did. In a statement, his brother Gulbar said, "We as a family do not condone any of his actions and would like to sincerely apologise wholeheartedly to all the victims involved in the unfortunate incident. We would also like to add that any attack on any human being, be it a Jew, Christian or Muslim, is wrong and should always be condemned." Lucy Gamal.
Thanks, Tim.
Well, in other news, Greater Manchester's clean air zone has been sent back to the government for review over concerns it will cause real hardship on some residents. It comes after all 10 councils held a meeting to discuss the zone, which was due to begin in May 2022. Thousands signed a petition expressing concerns about the costs of charges and problems in buying vehicles.
Now, have you tried to get an NHS dentist appointment?
Well, figures show some parts of the northwest have lost up to a quarter of dentists offering NHS treatments.
Yeah, tonight we hear from a dentist who has been violently threatened by desperate patients, and a young mother whose nearest one means a 40-mile round trip to another county for a checkup. Our correspondent Anne O'Connor reports.
Mohsen Ahmad's practice in Oldham is an urgent dental care centre, but on occasions he's needed urgent help for his staff.
We've had to call the police out twice, since August. So they walked into the surgery, weren't able to be seen straight away, and then started abusing the staff, threatened to smash the practice up. And that's often not the patient's fault because they are suffering with pain and have nowhere to go. And it's not our fault because we, unfortunately, are constrained in the current contract.
He says he can't afford to treat everyone he wants because the NHS pays him the same for filling one patient's tooth or 5 on another. He's one of thousands fighting for more than a decade for a new contract.
We have to get a system that works equitably for everybody. That's the profession and the general public as well.
Recent figures show 2 areas, one in the northwest, have lost a quarter of NHS dentists. 30 English clinical groups have a 10th fewer. Bolton is one of those places that's seen a 25% drop, with Oldham losing almost a fifth. And in St Helens, the number of dentists giving NHS treatment has fallen 17%.
With every phone call I made, it was that they were not taking on NHS patients.
Ophelia Lorick tried 15 surgeries from her new home in Levenshume. She was pregnant with little Nolan and entitled to NHS dental care. He's now 6 months old, close to teething, and neither of them has a dentist.
The closest one was further than 20 miles away in Cheshire, which is not really a possibility for me to travel there just for a dentist appointment.
Surgeries that refused NHS care have offered to sign her up as a private patient.
Possibly I could go private, although I don't really want to. I don't know why I should have to go private, but I think of all these other people who cannot afford to go private or cannot afford to drive 20 miles. It's just dumbfounding me, really, that you can't get a dentist.
The surgery here at Glodick is one of 600 urgent dental care centres set up by the NHS since the start of the pandemic. It says it's providing unprecedented financial support to dentists across England, and it's set a safe target for them to return to NHS treatment.
Dentists disagree, saying they will again be penalised for not hitting those unrealistic targets. Anne O'Connor, ITV News, Oldham.
Well, earlier I spoke to Mark Woodger from the British Dental Association. I asked him why it's so difficult for people to get those appointments.
So I think at the moment it's difficult to get an NHS dental appointment because there isn't enough capacity within the system. Pre-COVID levels, we were only funding about 50% of the population to receive dentistry on a regular basis. And those patients who are accessing dentistry on an ad hoc basis were able to get those urgent appointments. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, everything's taking longer. We've missed about 38 million appointments over lockdown and subsequent tighter restrictions on infection control and movement. And catching up on those appointments is a real challenge, and it's making it very difficult for the existing capacity within NHS dentistry to cope.
We've heard some terrible stories and experiences of people having to travel miles in order to go and see a dentist. Some people having to travel to a different county. That simply can't be right. What do you think can be done about it?
Well, Wales have taken a very different approach to England. So Wales suspended all the targets for dentists and said, what we want you to do is prioritise those patients who've got those urgent needs, who are in pain. And we're not going to monitor your targets. We just want you to care for people and make sure they get the care they need. In England, unfortunately, the government has imposed successive targets on dentistry for activity, trying to get patient charge revenue in, and has not allowed us really to prioritise those patients who are most in need.
And Mark, problems with your teeth can be so debilitating. It can put some people's lives on hold. What are your experiences? Do you get people knocking on your doors trying to get appointments and who are desperate?
Yeah, I mean, I think all the dentists that I know get regular calls from friends of friends, even family members who can't get appointments, and it's increasingly difficult to get people in. This is a real human story where lots of people are suffering out there. We need to do better. We need to follow the example of Wales, who've prioritised people and getting people out of pain over government-imposed targets.
So fundamentally, is there an issue with the contracts that the dentists sign? And if so, what are those issues?
Essentially, when you look at the way in which NHS dentistry is funded, if you were to come and see me and you needed one filling doing, we would get paid a fee for doing that. If you came to see me and you needed 10 fillings doing, we get paid exactly the same fee.
And just finally, Mark, I mean, what would your message be to our viewers, some of them watching right now who've got issues with their teeth, are desperate to go and see a dentist, can't get an appointment anytime soon? What would you say to them?
I mean, we are trying as a profession to see emergency appointments every day, and we literally do review capacity on a daily basis. So, for example, if I got a cancellation in the afternoon and a patient phoned up in pain in the morning, of course we'd see them. So difficult as it is and unsatisfactory as it is at the moment, please do continue to ring round practices. If a colleague has capacity, they will, I'm sure, fit you in and see you.
Mark Woodger from the British Dental Association, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, lots of you are struggling, and you've been telling us about the problems that you've been having finding an NHS dentist right across the northwest. Kate Nichols, for example, says, I tried for over 12 months in Wigan to find an NHS dentist. I ended up spending £665.
Yeah, this one from Jackie Slater. I have an NHS dentist and the waiting list is 5 months for a checkup, or pay £95 for a private one.
Yeah, and Alison says, my bridge has detached. I have tried every NHS dentist in my area to no avail. I've resorted to buying dental cement off Amazon. DIY dentistry in the 21st century.
My goodness, painful stuff. Thank you for your comments. Now, the story of a remarkable man. Remarkable because when he was told he was terminally ill, he was determined to run 5K every day for a year, yes, a year, to raise money to help other people get active.
Yeah, he's an incredible man. He is Tony Collier from Altrincham, who was diagnosed with prostate cancer 4.5 years ago. He's now trying to motivate others to get involved in 5K Your Way for Move Against Cancer, which is building on the success of Parkrun. So what's motivating him?
I find challenges really motivating, and I think it helps me enormously with my mental and general well-being. So I think it's really important to stay fit. Exercise is a massive part of my life, and I get lots of pleasure from it. And fundraising as well. What a great combination.
But how tough is it? Is it painful sometimes?
The first week was awful. Every single run was horrendous. It was incredibly difficult. The second week was a bit easier, and we're now in the third week. This week's been a real challenge.
But quite frustrating for you, because you've been a really, really hot runner, haven't you? I mean, amazing.
Yeah, back in 2017, I was training for one of the world's toughest ultramarathons, and I was ultra fit. I've done 20 marathons in my 50s, completed one ultramarathon. So I would say I was probably a sub-elite athlete, and I've gone from being a sub-elite athlete to a back-of-the-pack plodder. But I'm still running, and I'm still grateful to be here to do that.
So when, in your mind, you were at the peak of fitness, you got this terrible diagnosis, so that must have been so tough.
It was horrendous. Literally one day I was training for an ultramarathon, but I was being hampered by a groin strain. I went to see a sports injuries doctor. We had an MRI scan pre-arranged. He saw the scan, said there was something untoward, sent me for some blood tests and chest x-rays there and then, and a CT scan the following day. And at 8 o'clock the following day, he called me up and said, 99% certain you've got cancer. And 10 days of more tests, and it was confirmed. It was advanced stage prostate cancer. It spread into the pelvis, hips, ribs, spine, neck and skull, and I was given a worst case prognosis of 2 years, and that's 4.5 years ago. Being told you've got cancer is devastating. Being told that they can't cure it is indescribable, and you go into the depths of despair. And I spent 18 months feeling very sorry for myself, but then I realised I've got to try and live life to the full.
And you've seen things that you didn't think you'd see.
Absolutely. I've managed to walk my daughter down the aisle earlier this year, which I never thought I'd get to see. I had one grandchild when I was diagnosed. I've now got 3, including a new granddaughter only 2 days ago.
Oh, wow,
so
congratulations.
Very excited and can't wait for baby cuddles.
So tell me about what you're raising your money for.
I'm very passionate about exercise. I'm the North West Regional Champion for 5K Your Way, and behind 5K Your Way are the Move charity. And the Move charity help teenagers and young adults living with cancer to get moving again.
So how does 5K Your Way work, though? What sort of different ways do people do that 5K in?
We encourage people to come along and do it whatever way they want to. That would include walking, predominantly. Most of people at my 5K Your Way walk. They can jog, they can run, or they can simply stand and cheer and volunteer.
So, Tony, a final message from you?
Well, I'm fundraising for the Move charity. I have a Just Giving page. It's very simple, 5K 365 days.
Fantastic. Well, the very best of luck, and thanks for coming in to tell us all about it.
Thank you, Lucy.
Well, next tonight, the son of Manchester United and England legend Nobby Stiles says he's disappointed that no club has taken up his offer to talk to players about dementia. After seeing his father die from the disease in 2020, John Stiles now wants to educate footballers about the dangers of heading a ball. David Chisnell reports.
From winning the World Cup with England,
Nobby Stiles,
and the European Cup with Manchester United,
these heroes of Manchester United.
Nobby Stiles' football career had so many memorable moments. But it was his career that also cost him his life. And in 2020, he was one of an increasing number of former players to die suffering from dementia.
It was horrific, and we're like many other families who've been through it. It's a terrible disease. It's a terminal brain disease, and you watch the person you loved go away brutally.
Well, since his father's death, John Stiles has dedicated his life to educating footballers about the risk of dementia. As a former player himself, he's keen to spread the message, but has been frustrated by the lack of interest.
I wrote to all 92 league clubs, and I've written to the Women's Super League clubs, basically asking if I can come and talk to them. Got a couple of polite responses, but I haven't had anybody arranging for me to talk to the players, which is disappointing, probably not surprising. But I'm going to rewrite to them again.
In 2019, a landmark study of 7,500 former professional footballers found that they were up to 5 times more likely to develop dementia. In an effort to try and tackle the problem, this season clubs have been given guidance recommending that they limit the number of headers in training from corners, goal kicks and free kicks to 10 per week.
Is it absolutely necessary to head a football in the game, or could the game be played without heading a football? You know, even at some level. So maybe, you know, amateurs, youth level, you know, there's a level of sport where we say that heading is just not worth the risk.
While banning heading from the professional game is unlikely, the Football Association says it is taking action, and that at the end of 2021, they, along with the Premier League, Football League and the Professional Footballers Association, announced a new joint action plan on understanding, promoting and protecting brain health, focusing on research, education, awareness and support for players. But John feels that's not enough.
I don't believe they care, and they don't want to, because perhaps it might damage the brand, I don't know. But I shan't stop. I have to do it. I won't be able to look myself in the mirror if I don't.
Well, John now fears he may suffer from dementia in the future. And after seeing what happened to his dad, he wants to do all he can to help prevent more footballers from being killed by their career. David Chisnell, ITV News.
Well, next tonight, there is no doubt how tough it was for many health workers helping us throughout the pandemic. And today, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge were in Lancashire to say a very special thank you to some of them in person.
Yeah, they were at Clitheroe Community Hospital. The royal couple are patrons of NHS Charities Together, an organisation which has donated more than £300,000 to the trust.
Our reporter, Mel Barham, was there.
It was a visit designed to boost morale for the NHS staff who've endured so much over the last 2 years. Masked up and following all COVID protocols, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge spoke to those who've been working on the front line and how it's impacted their mental health.
How are you managing to juggle all that?
I don't know really, just keep on going.
They also met patients. Bill, a former policeman, gave them the royal salute and was keen to invite them back.
But we'd like you to come up more often.
Definitely will.
But today was very much about the well-being of staff. The couple are both patrons of the organisation NHS Charities Together, which has awarded over £300,000 to the East Lancashire Trust to provide wellbeing services for staff. Today, the Duke and Duchess listened to just how hard it's been working during a pandemic. The royals were meant to be the star attraction today, but perhaps this little fella took the lead. The 10-week-old cockapoo was unveiled as the Trust's new therapy dog. He's still to learn about royal protocol.
It was lovely. It was what was needed after 2 hard years going through COVID. You know, it's been harrowing, not only for patients but for staff. you know, we've had a little bit of a reprieve, but we're nowhere near through the worst of it. We are so grateful to the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge as our royal patrons in being able to shine a light on the pressures that staff are under at the moment, particularly, you know, within rural communities as well, because that's not always talked about.
It was incredibly special, and it just gives a hug to every member of staff, you know, any NHS worker across East Lancashire today.
The pressures facing the NHS have not gone away, but today memories of the hardships suffered were definitely softened. Mel Barham, ITV News, Clitheroe.
Time for the weather. Here's Jo.
Oh, I love a hot shower and a cold day, me.
And a minute shorter than usual.
What a legend.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather. Thank you. A very good evening to you. Blue skies and lots of lovely sunshine around today. A real boost to spirits for January. A bit more cloud to come over the next few days, but temperatures will lift a bit. It certainly felt chilly today. Another frost to come tonight, but very gradually temperatures lift towards the end of the week, and there'll be a few bright spells, but there's certainly more cloud feeding in around that high that's in charge of things. Settled, generally dry, very little rain in the forecast. Saturday and Sunday aren't looking too bad at all, with those temperatures lifting both by day and night. All very quiet weather-wise at the moment, and under clear skies this evening at first, temperatures will drop away quite sharply yet again. A widespread frost, one or two very shallow mist patches here and there before dawn, and by the end of the night we'll begin to see a little bit of cloud just encroaching from the west. As you can see, that frost becoming increasingly confined to eastern areas. Temperatures just above freezing in the far west by dawn. On to tomorrow. First of all, the sun times, and it'll be up at 8:14, setting at 4:31. After a dry night tonight and a frosty start for many places tomorrow, there'll be a bit of sunshine initially, but again, that tends to creep away as cloud builds from the west during the course of the morning. Staying dry into the afternoon, and temperatures up a little on today's values. I think it'll probably get to around 6 or 7 Celsius, but of course we won't have as much sunshine to look forward to. The next few days there'll be a few bright spells here and there, on Saturday in particular, but a fair amount of cloud around, holding on to that dry theme though, and both by day and night not feeling quite as cold. That's it for the time being. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Oh, hello.
Get him a towel.
Definitely feeling colder out there. I think Alfie the cockapoo might have stolen the show tonight.
He absolutely did. And great to see the royal couple supporting such important work that's going on.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, great to see. Thanks for joining us. Good night.